Come on in. Welcome to Idled Out, where we talk all things Survivor. My name is Luke, and today we're talking about 5 Survivor seasons that you should consider rewatching this offseason. The offseason rewatch is a tradition in my household, where I go back and watch older seasons when the current season finishes airing to both refresh my memory and simply enjoy myself. There's also the on-season rewatch. In fact, the rewatches don't really ever stop here. Somebody please help me, I've seen Pearl Islands 14 times. I know a lot of Survivor fans enjoy rewatching seasons as much as I do. So today I thought I'd throw together a list of some seasons that are really rewarding on a rewatch when you know where the season and boot order are going, and you can simply sit back and enjoy the characters and storytelling. This isn't necessarily a list of the best seasons. In fact, I'm going to be largely avoiding the canonical best seasons for this list. So no David versus Goliaths, Kagayans, heroes versus villains, etc., etc. Those are great. I've rewatched all of them a bunch, but let's go a little deeper. Rather, I'd like to talk about a handful of largely underrated seasons across all eras of Survivor, which will be a rewarding revisit for modern fans who have not seen these seasons in a while. Generally, I'll be focusing on seasons with good character drama and strong storylines, which in some cases significantly improve from the binge-watching format rather than week-to-week viewing. We'll be going in chronological order as I make the case for why you should rewatch each one. So cozy up with your Jeff Probst body pillow and renew that Paramount Plus subscription as we talk about 5 Survivor seasons you should think about rewatching this offseason. The first season you should consider rewatching this offseason is Survivor Vanuatu. Every time I rewatch this season, it inches up my rankings. This season has a reputation as having a pretty boring pre-merge, and I don't think that's entirely unearned, but there's enough meat on the bone, especially post-swap, to get you to the insanely entertaining post-merge. When I watch this season, I'm quite frequently in awe of how good the storytelling is. When you're cooking up a Battle of the Sexes season, lone man outlasts group of women and wins is probably not the story you're hoping to tell. And you're probably really not hoping to tell it about the schmoozy ponytail haver. And yet, nevertheless, they make Chris's win and the Yasser Alliance implosion such a satisfying storyline, despite how difficult a tightrope walk it must have been to pull off. This season is also home to 4 of the greatest Survivor characters of all time: Chris, Twyla, Amy, and Rory. Rory is endearingly obnoxious. Amy is the archetypal ice queen. Bring her back for 50, please. But it's Chris and Twyla that keep me coming back to this season again and again. The contrast between 2 finalists has never been greater. Chris is low-key hilarious and the biggest bullshitter this show's ever seen. A guy who says the most transparent lies imaginable and yet has most of his tribe mates eating out of the palm of his hand. Then there's Twyla, prickly, overly sincere, and tortured by the lies she's told and promises she's broken. The way they portray her is incredible. She's the most Shakespearean reality TV contestant ever. Granted, low bar. I think there are better seasons, but this one may be my personal favorite. Rewatch it and join me in the Vanuatu fan club. We call ourselves Vanuatus and meet every other Thursday. Sometimes someone brings muffins. The next season you should think about rewatching is Survivor Exile Island. This is probably the most popular season you're going to see on this list, but one which I don't think is considered a top 10 season, so I think it's fair game here. Exile Island is a blast, and I can tell you why in a single word: Kasaya. Post-swap Kasaya is possibly the most entertaining tribe of all time, and they single-handedly make this a season which is endlessly rewatchable. Fast forward through all the sleepy Lamina scenes, watch those at 2x. I don't care. It doesn't matter anyway. Every second spent on Kasaya is pure joy. I mean, if you derive joy from watching the most dysfunctional group of people alive grow increasingly bitter, resentful, and occasionally homicidal towards one another. The stars truly aligned at this tribe swap because the most dysfunctionally entertaining, entertainingly dysfunctional group ever assembled all ended up on Kasaya. They even have the courtesy to boot the relatively normal Melinda first. I'd probably heave myself into the fire if I were actually on this tribe and had to play Survivor with these people, but watching this tribe as a third party is like being invited to someone's Thanksgiving dinner, and you get there and the entire family hates each other and is constantly sniping at each other for no reason. Oh no, Uncle Bob Dog and Uncle Bruce are drunk again. Cousin Courtney's doing yoga for some reason. I think Uncle Shane is sharpening a knife. There are seasons with better strategy, there are seasons with better characters overall. Heck, there are even train wreckier seasons. But this is the funniest Survivor season of all time, and every moment spent with the Kasaya tribe is just fun. Again, if your idea of fun is being a fly on the wall during a non-stop streak of arguments, mental breakdowns, occasional nudity, and violent threats. Which mine is. The next season you should consider rewatching is Survivor South Pacific. I know, this is a season not typically well regarded in the fan community, but this season undoubtedly gets the Most Improved on a Rewatch award from me. Though the initial week-to-week viewing of this season was a bit of a slog, this is a season I've really come around on in recent years. You just gotta know where it's going. This season explores the dark side of humanity. Like, this is the only time an alliance itself felt immoral. Coach is the ultimate villain, cynically weaponizing his tribe's faith and fears and insecurities to manipulate them into bending to his will. You literally see a cult form in real time. In what other reality show can you say that? You're not gonna see this kind of shit on Dancing with the Stars. Another thing this season has that others don't is the animosity between the two tribes. Upolu and Savai trade immunity wins back and forth all throughout the pre-merge, resulting in an intense tribal rivalry rarely seen on Survivor. It's incredible. Both tribes were so completely resolute in their convictions to stick together heading into the merge. Well, almost completely resolute. Granted, post-merge, this does turn into a pagonging, but the show kindly shoves 5 boots into 3 episodes, so even that goes by quicker than normal. Admittedly, this is probably no one's favorite season, but it's also not your typical season. It's very dark, but it's also very rewarding, with well-told arcs for Coach, Ozzy, Brandon, and Cochran. Now, I realize your mileage very likely varies on those 4, but all 4 of their stories are told well. And to top it all off, the season where a religious cult dominates is ultimately won by the atheist who just rolled her eyes and went along with it. That's just objectively funny. The next season you should think about rewatching this offseason is Survivor San Juan del Sur. It's only fitting that we celebrate the unexpected reemergence of John Rocker as a 20-post-a-day conservative Twitter personality with his short but sweet Survivor appearance. Wow, he's back! In grifter form! Rocker aside, this is a fantastic season of Survivor, which was generally not well received at the time, but which produced a ton of future Survivor legends, is genuinely hilarious and full of heart, and which has the greatest revenge story ever told on this show. You can practically hear the editors laughing at you as they build up Josh and Jeremy as the only realistic and viable winners pre-merge, the heads of their respective alliances, only to have them go out back-to-back at the start of the merge, leaving Edgic in shambles and even the most casual of viewers scratching their heads. The season just flips itself upside down mid-season. It's here that Natalie's revenge plot is born, which for my money is one of the most satisfying winner stories ever, as she patiently bides her time to take her revenge on John and get justice for Jeremy. This is some Game of Thrones stuff, except here they actually stick the landing. Most importantly for the rewatch, though, is that this is a season which just gets funnier the more you watch it. Almost everyone here is inadvertently hilarious, from wholesome King Keith nearly bumbling backwards to a win, to Drew Christie's entire existence, to Jeremy's misspeaking.
Y'all don't even know who John Rocker is. I know who he is. He said a whole bunch of racist and homosexual stuff.
Heck, even Wes and Alec deliver once you realize neither of them are physically able to close their mouths. Dude, I'm gonna have to ask you to put that thing away. I'll never get why production viewed this season as a disappointment, the season which killed the Blood vs. Water format in the cradle. Sure, Blood vs. Water 1 has Sierra voting out her mom and Rupert swapping places with his wife. But this has a message about loved ones which I think is profound, that sometimes our family are the people we choose. And sometimes, they're even worth embarking on a Kill Bill-style revenge tour to avenge. The final season you should rewatch this off-season is Survivor 43. Before you start booing, hear me out. I rewatched this season myself last year, and I was shocked at how much I enjoyed it. This is almost universally considered the worst New Era season, a season not even the cast of 43 like. And for what? 'Cause Kooky Palm Frond Man wins? Yeah, that's what makes it great. Once you know that Gabler wins, once you actually start to pay attention to him, this season becomes super rewarding. Gabler tells us exactly what he's going to do, then he does it. He says he's hiding in plain sight, and that even extends to the audience's perception of him. Usually, when you have an underestimated winner on the show, we the audience don't underestimate them, too. They took a different approach to how they presented Gabler, and somehow convinced the audience to write him off as a kook too, when he quite literally creates, then executes all of his plans. Now, sometimes those plans are voting out his biggest enemy in the game, and sometimes those plans are putting a little palm frond blankie on Sammy. But he executes, okay? The rest of this cast round this season out. Jesse and Cody are obvious standouts who dominate the game top to bottom, and Telenovela, where Jesse blindsides Cody, is one of the best episodes in Survivor history, in my opinion. But Noelle's evolution into a power player, Owen's Charlie Brown storyline, Ellie's swift rise and fall, Carla's ruthlessness, and James constantly sounding like he's talking into a fan are all super entertaining storylines as well.
Last tribal's vote showed trust, and I feel like we'll leave this tribal with more trust moving forward.
Overall, this is a season which I really hope will receive a reevaluation as good actually in the future. And Gabler's win makes this so much more memorable than if Cassidy or even Jesse took the crown in the end. Give this one a rewatch with the Alec Gabler in mind, and you too will come to appreciate the strategic and social genius of putting palm fronds on your friends while they're sleeping, and shouting out every person you've ever met during an endurance challenge. I'm being serious, by the way. Got nothing else for ya. If you liked this video more than Gabler loves palm frond blankets, like and subscribe and I'll get you more Survivor content just like this. Until next time, don't get idled out.